There are words a woman forgets, and others that stay etched into her skin. You can give her attention, loyalty, safety, and still vanish from her memory. Because in the mind of a woman, desire doesn't remember the man who tried hardest. It remembers the one who spoke her language without saying much at all, a single word. A nickname whispered in the right tone can brand itself into her mind deeper than any act of love. Why? Because a name isn't just sound. It's symbol. It tells her who she is, in your world. And the man who names from his center doesn't just flirt, he leads. He defines reality. Tonight, you'll learn the 5 forbidden nicknames, the ones that don't flatter her ego, but awaken her instinct. They make her respect you, crave you, and even fear losing you, not because you dominate her body, but because you occupy her mind, and if you misuse them, she'll never forget you, for better or worse. This isn't a list of cute pet names. This is philosophy in flesh, a guide for men who understand that words are weapons, and silence is strategy. I'm your narrator. Welcome to the Stoic Tide. Let's begin. Point 1. Little Savage, naming from power, not tenderness. 3:30:10. Narrator. When a woman meets you, she studies you in silence. Not your jokes, not your stories, your naming, because names are anchors of identity. If you call her baby princess cutie, you've already lost. You've recycled another man's words. You're renting space in her memory instead of building your own. But when you name her from strength, not from need, you carve a new symbol into her mind. Imagine this. She's telling you about her day. She's confident, expressive, radiant. You listen. Then you simply say, "Little Savage," and you keep talking, calm, unbothered. She pauses. Her brain rewinds. She starts to wonder, why that name? What did you see in me? What part of me did you just awaken? That's the moment she leaves her world and steps into yours. Because women don't obsess over what they understand. They obsess over what they can't define. That nickname doesn't praise her. It challenges her. It marks territory, symbolically, not physically. Most men name to please. Stoic men name to lead. You're not here to follow her script. You're here to write your own. And when she realizes she has to learn your language to belong in your world, you've already won the psychological war. Pause. Ask yourself this. Am I naming her from need or from choice? Because the man who names from need begs for recognition. The man who names from choice creates identity, and she will always crave the man who defines her reality. Point 2. My pretty witch, my little wolf. The instinct of surrender. 10 water 70 no. Narrator. A woman may admire you with her mind, but she only surrenders with her body when her instinct is touched. That's why the next nickname doesn't come from tenderness, but comes from direction when you call her my pretty witch, my little wolf, my storm. You're not flattering her. You're naming her nature. You're saying, I see the chaos you hide, and I'm not afraid of it. That sentence does what no compliment ever could. It awakens the primal part of her brain that wants to be guided, not managed. It's not dominance through force. It's dominance through presence. She can feel the difference between a man who needs permission and a man whose energy already is permission. That's the Stoic paradox. True control isn't in commanding others. It's in commanding your aura. When that energy is steady, grounded, patient, even your silence says, follow. And when you finally speak, when you name her, you're not just describing her. You're claiming resonance. She becomes the embodiment of your vision. That's the psychology behind the feminine surrender. Not submission to a man, but surrender to his certainty. If she senses that your nickname comes from a place of calm power, she will melt. If it comes from insecurity or lust, she'll recoil. So don't call her my witch because you read it online. Call her that because you saw it, in the spark of her eyes and the way her energy disrupts yours. That's not a phrase. That's a mirror of instinct. Mid-video pause. Channel plug. 17R. 1730. Narrator. Tone softens. Music fades slightly. If this is opening your eyes, if you're starting to feel the difference between chasing and commanding, pause for a second. Hit like, share, and subscribe to the Stoic Tide. Because what's coming next will take you from attraction to mastery. Point 3. My Little Storm. The Power of Ambiguity on 1730-2230. Narrator. Desire feeds on uncertainty. The third nickname is the ambiguous mark. It's the one that creates obsession through confusion, where she doesn't know if she's chosen or competing. A woman can handle domination. She can handle distance. But what truly drives her mind wild is not knowing where she stands. So you give her a name that could belong to anyone. But somehow, when you say it, it sounds like it belongs only to her. My little storm. She smiles intrigued. Why do you call me that? You just hold her gaze and say nothing. That silence burns louder than words. Now she's replaying it in her head, assigning meaning, craving closure, inventing stories. You didn't seduce her. You activated her mind. Psychologists call it emotional dissonance. Her logic and her emotion pull in opposite directions, and that friction becomes addiction. She's not chasing you. She's chasing certainty, and every time she doesn't get it, you grow larger in her psyche. This is the Stoic balance. Never manipulative, never needy, just intentional mystery. You give her 80% and let her imagination write the rest. Because the female mind doesn't fall for facts. It falls for fantasy. Point 4. My hidden one. The wound beneath the armor, 22:30:26. Narrator. Most men speak to a woman's surface. They praise her looks, her confidence, her career. Few ever speak to the part she hides, but every woman carries a wound, a memory, an insecurity. A silent ache she never shows. The fourth forbidden nickname touches that place, not to heal it, but to acknowledge it. When you say, my fearful girl, my hidden one, my little chaotic one, you're not being sentimental. You're seeing her shadow. You're saying, I see what you pretend not to show, and I'm still here. That's the deepest seduction there is. Recognition without judgment. It breaks her armor because it doesn't ask for performance. It tells her she can stop pretending. But beware, this level of connection requires maturity. Because if you touch that wound and disappear, you don't just hurt her. You leave her unprotected. This is where emotional strength meets responsibility. A real Stoic man doesn't play with broken glass. He holds it carefully. So use this only when you're grounded enough to stay. Because once you call her my hidden one, she'll never hide from you again. Point 5. My wild side. Naming her as you see her. 26:29. Narrator. Now we enter the final level. The nickname that doesn't describe who she is, but who she becomes with you. My wild side. My untamable need. My little submissive. Not because you own her, but because you evoke her. Every woman wears a mask. Society taught her to be strong, controlled, unreachable. But deep inside there's a softer current, a hunger to be seen without the armor. And when you name her from that truth, you give her something no one else can. A reflection of the woman she's afraid to admit she is. That's not about ego. That's vision. The weak man calls her queen and puts her above him. The strong man sees the divine and the dangerous within her, and meets it as an equal. He doesn't worship her power. He awakens it, and that's why she remembers him. Not because he gave her everything, but because he gave her a mirror she couldn't break. Closing. To name is to lead. 29. She, 30s are. Narrator. Calm. Cinematic fade. Most men will never understand this. They'll keep saying babe, thinking affection replaces depth. But you now know the truth. A woman doesn't obsess over the man who pleases her. She obsesses over the man who defines her. To name is to lead. And the man who can name without needing approval becomes unforgettable. He doesn't shout. He doesn't chase. He simply stands in his truth, and the world reorganizes around him. You are that man. Walk like it. Speak like it. Text like it. Name like it. This is the Stoic Tide. If this opened your eyes, like, share, and subscribe to join the brotherhood of men who've stopped begging for attention and started commanding it.